First John 4, verse 19. We love because he first loved us. Our motive, the reason, the why, well, it's simple. It doesn't have to do with the fact that it occurs to us that we should love. No, wasn't our idea at all. We love because he first loved us. We wouldn't even know what love was if it hadn't been for the fact that God loved us. And because God's love is not just an emotional or sentimental, it's not just I just feel love toward. No, it's in behavior, it's in action, it's his love does stuff. A terrific book by Bob Goff. The title is Love Does. If you're looking for something in terms like you're reading that will be inspirational and just helpful, plus it's very well written. He's witty and insightful and godly, but a little edgy sometimes. I still recommend it. Love does. See that? If it doesn't, I'm pretty sure it's not love. Love does. And when God loved us, he did for us. And the ultimate expression of that, obviously, for us as Christians on this side of the cross and the empty tomb, the ultimate expression is how he gave his only son, Jesus, to save us. But God expressed his love from the very beginning. God, we love because he showed us what love was. All right, we love because he first loved us. So you just don't get things turned around here. Don't get things where you forget this wasn't your idea. It wasn't my idea. And, oh, by the way, I didn't know what I was doing. If I wouldn't have known if God hadn't loved me first. Okay. And then in verse 20, whoever claims to love God yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother and sister whom they have seen cannot love God whom they have not seen. So now we're down where the rubber meets the road. Now we're down on the runway, out of the clouds. Yes, I love others. I love that. I love my neighbor. I love that coworker. I love that employee. Go on and on and on. Really? You love them. Okay. How do I know? Love does. But you know what? There are people, and sometimes I am one of them, who I love God. Man, I love God. With all my heart, I love God. Them, can't stand them. I can't stand them. Now, John uses the word hate. And the idea of hate, well, there are shades of gray toward black in this idea of hate. All right? Hate is not just, man, I just don't like it very much. That's not really hatred. When I truly do not care for, I don't like, you're edging toward it, obviously. But hate is, I wish the destruction of. Interesting thing, a very interesting thing about hate. Do you realize God actually hates? He hates sin. Does he hate the sinner? No, that's the old thing. Hate the sin, love the sinner. God's able to pull that off. I often struggle with that. there. The writer of Proverbs says there are 6 things that God hates. Oh no, 7 actually. And then he makes a list, and at the top of the list was a prideful heart. There are things that God hates. It's not like, oh, I just don't like that. It just goes against my grain. Well, yes, it goes against the grain, and no, he doesn't like it, but this is a degree to which he wishes it were gone. He would like to destroy it. He would like to dismantle it. The things that God hates, he wants to go away. We can hate as well. We have to be very careful, though, because we have this propensity to hate both the sin and the sinner. And the truth is, we have this proclivity to fall into a trap that when others are not enough like me, I begin to not like them. And if they are enough not like me, and if they are intensely not like me, I can begin to hate them. Now, I'm a political conservative. And also, I am a political pessimist. I do not believe politics is ever going to fix the stuff we're into here. It's obvious to me that we've been, well, goodness, for the last 40 years at least, we have been in this push me, pull me, tug me, fight me political situation, and I just don't see that politics is going to fix it. Here's my dilemma. I really do despise certain of the tactics and certain of the programs and certain of the planning of some politicians. I have to be very careful that I don't hate the politician. I don't care what side of the issue you come down on. I don't care what political party you're a part of. We've got to be careful that we keep the issue separate from the person, and that is really very difficult. John says, whoever claims to love God but hates a brother or sister is what? A liar. The bottom line is, I can't love God and hate a human being. I can't love God and hate a person. For whoever does not love their brother and sister whom they have seen cannot love God whom they have not seen. It's like, just stands to reason. If that person that I can see, if I'm unable to love them, I'm going to be unable to love a God that I cannot see. I can only see his effects, but I can't see him. Well, then John goes on in verse 21, and he has given us this command. Anyone who loves God must also love their brother and sister. If I love God, this is my bent paraphrase of it. If I claim to love God, then I obligate myself to love people, human beings, men and women, other people. You whether you meant to or not, when you signed on with I will love God, you also signed in on this line, I will love people. What does it look like to love people who you dramatically and diametrically disagree with? What does that look like? Let's think about that in the time that we have left. Well, here I would say this is step one of part A. I don't have to agree with someone in order to love them. And especially for those that I disagree with, the first thing that I can do as a behavior of love, an act of love, is pray for their good. Now, I tend to sometimes, with these people that I disagree with so dramatically, and it's not just politicians, there are other people I disagree with, right? Duh. I have this, it's temptation, okay? That what I'll pray for, I'll pray for them. I'll pray that they pull their head out and figure out what in the heck's going on, why they can't keep thinking that, and why that's bad, and why, oops. I might fool myself into believing, well, I'm just praying for their best interest because, if they keep doing these bad things, they're going to get bad results. That's not in their best interest. Okay. But there's so few times that you and I are so wise, so well informed, and we're so clued in that we know exactly what that other person needs, that we can be the authority. I can't. So I think of a person that I do have this strong disagreement with. My prayer, well, I wouldn't say it's a sin for me to pray, Lord, change their mind. But see, that's I guess you could pray that. More often, I need to pray, God, change my heart. Direct my heart to love them as a person. Okay? And then the next thing is, God, meet their needs. Be merciful, pour out grace on them, and above all, draw them more deeply into your heart, and your love, and your mind. Jesus talks about how his people ought to treat their enemies, and he said, love your enemies. Pray for those who use you despitefully. In another place, he said, feed those who are your enemies. And by doing these acts of kindness, it's like heaping coals of fire on their head. Whoa, that's kind of like, I'm going to ask for so much good that you're going to just be miserable. I'm pretty sure that's not what Jesus meant. But the point is, pray for them. Pray for their good. Not so that you'll get out of them what you want from them. That's not the prayer. All right, what else? How else do you pray for your enemies? Well, if you're going to pray very specifically, you have to know more about them. So you might need to get to know this person that you disagree with so dramatically. And sometimes that's possible. Sometimes it's not very possible. All right. So how else do you express love? How do you love these people who you disagree with? These people who you're in an adversarial relationship with? Is it okay? Can I be adversarial towards someone and still love them? Interesting question. Again, let's go back to what is love? Remember, our definition for love is doing for the other person what they really need. If I don't know what they really need, then I begin by praying, Lord, show me what they need, because that's what I want to be able. If it's within my power, I want to be able to do that. If it's not within my power, then I at least want to know how to pray for their best interest, for you to do for them what they really need. It just comes down to, I have to tenderize my heart. Do I have to change my opinion about the issue? Not necessarily, but I cannot hold tight-fistedly in such a manner that they become a hated adversary. There was a time in American history when even in the world of politics, one could be an honorable adversary. And there could be honorable dialogue about disagreements, even strong disagreements. Wish we could return to that. But returning to that doesn't start in Washington, D.C. That starts right here with me and with you. Well, ready to move on at the last chapter, chapter 5, next time on So Care with Stevie Boy.